Here's part three of our conversation with Mike Levine of Triumph as they're celebrating the release of their brand new documentary, Rock and Roll Machine. Enjoy. Yeah, well, Rik just said, had said, he says, well, he was the guy, and there was never any regrets there. And I even when Rik was at a point where he says, getting back together with Triumph would be like, this is like when he was doing his jazz stuff, because I was co-chair of the Jazz Awards in Toronto. So I got to interview Rik all the time. And I remember he started becoming a little bit more melancholy about it as time went by, because he said, well, I sold the rights and all this stuff. And he said, would you go on a road trip with your ex-wife? I said, yeah, but everyone says that. I said, it's always like that. I mean, there's only three guys. And in a documentary, you guys talk about the fact that he says, hey, I broke their heart. What would have happened if he stayed?
I don't know. Maybe I would have left.
Are you serious? Or you think maybe?
Maybe. I don't know. Or Gil would have hung up his spikes. You don't know.
You'd worked hard at that point. You guys were going steady.
Yeah, I would say it's like, we had a long life as a band. 13 years is a long time for a band to stay together. So everybody we're getting older. Our families were growing. There's the life on the road is not, it's a lot of hard work. It was always hard work. As you get a little older, it's like it wears on you somewhat. And, the music industry was changing, the radio was changing. There was a lot of things going on that we could have fit ourselves into without a problem. But it would have required, some retooling, some reshaping, changing of attitude somewhat. And I think like you said, why or how or when, I thought we could have fit in, and continued. But, I don't regret the fact that we stopped. What I do regret is that we never really got back together when we could have gone out to play, because the Live Nation and every promoter in North America was dying to get us. So we were the only 80s big touring headlining band that had gone on the road in the summertime circuit, right? So the offers were like mind-boggling, for us to go out. But it just didn't happen. We didn't, the timing wasn't right. But every year the call had come to our agent, okay, what's the scoop on Triumph this year?
Like I said, the perspective from Rik seemed to change for me. And I started seeing the fact that it's kind of like in your 20s, you don't want to hang out with your parents. Most kids don't, a lot. And by the time you get in your 30s, you start going, oh, well, yeah, that was an important time for me then, and not everyone's the same, goes on the same timeline, but when I saw that in the preview, I went, oh, I'm glad they're addressing that. I'm glad that you'd have to, right? You have no choice.
Yeah, it's it's the elephant in the room, we call it, right? It had to get addressed.
What kind of were you a music kid in school? I want to throw a few questions at you that might not get usually. Were you known as a music kid when you were in like high school, for instance?
Yeah, we had a band. I was in a band. We started a band, I think, when I was in grade 11.
Yeah.
I think. It was somewhere around there anyway. And we were, we had one microphone and lousy instruments, and we played the school assembly, and we played Monster Mash.
Did you have the dream, though? Did you really think, hey, I can make this work at that point, or when was the point where you went, well, I can make a living doing this. I'm at that spot.
It took a long time between my father was a working musician, and I watched how hard he had to work.
Yeah.
And I went, I don't think I could do it. He couldn't come to hockey games because, he was in the Toronto Symphony, but also was a jazz guy. So he'd be working, in the morning, there'd be rehearsals for the symphony. He'd have a recording session in the afternoon and then have a gig at night.
Yeah.
So, he wouldn't get home till midnight or 1 o'clock and then, go to sleep and get up and go to work again. I went, boy, that's a tough life.
So your dad got what you did, or did he even want you to get into music?
No, he was not a big proponent of he never knew what I did. He just goes, whatever you're doing, I don't know, but, I gigged around and, joined various bands, that basically I became kind of the leader of. I wrote, and mainly all R&B bands. made a couple of singles with them, a band called Terry and the Pirates, and what was the other one? Aurora Borealis had a single. But then that's after when I kind of hung it up and got into the record business at that point. I had an opportunity to go to work for this label. So I did. And, so I still played a bit, but not a lot. But when focus on my parents, when we played a big gig at Ontario Place on the lake in Toronto, I set a limo for my folks, and they drove it right backstage. Now the Toronto Symphony Orchestra played at Ontario Place, right? They did in the summer. They did 12 or 15 concerts there.
Yeah.
My dad plays double bass, so he had to park in the lot and carry his bass like a mile and a half to get to the gig. So he got out of the limo. He says, "Now I understand what you do."
Well, that's a moment, isn't it?
Yeah, it was kind of cool that he goes, "Okay, this is how my son. This is what he does, and he can do this." I've been playing bass for 40 years, and I still got to lug the thing for a mile and a half to get to a gig.
Well, thank you for sharing that.
For more information on the brand new Triumph documentary, go to the official Triumph webpage. There'll be links in the description of this video. And remember, support the channel, buy a Rock History Music, Rock History book, Rock History Canada t-shirt, links also in the description. Make sure you comment on our videos, subscribe to our channel, and share our videos. I'm John Beaudin from Rock History Music.